In this video, I just wanted to cover a little more about using markers with Chroma Pro and how the marker names and the style definition names can affect each other if you're using more than one Chroma Pro on the page. And this example's a very simple one. There's not a lot on the page. We've got our main menu here in a Chroma Pro stack, and it just does one thing. It goes from the default style of a blue bar, which matches this blue section that it's fixed upon, and it changes to a white background soon after we scroll. We've got a marker offset of 40 pixels on it, and that's right below the Chroma Pro stack, so we'd expect that to happen after we've scrolled 40 pixels. The bar will go white. Now also on this page we've got a second Chroma Pro, and this is set to fixed bottom. You can see over here, and this is our social bar, so it's also set up with a contained width and scale to content. And I'll just show you what that looks like first. And there it is at the bottom of the screen, and this is a standard setup if you want a contained width scroll up at the bottom, and it's done by a marker, so the marker's indicated where this red paragraph is just for reference, so when that gets to the top of the screen it reverses its position down and back up again. Okay, so that's all fine, but what's not happening is our menu's not changing colour as we'd expect. So let's go back and have a look at it. As we said, it starts out blue with this default style, and then we'd expect it to go white. And there's one thing that's going wrong here, and if your markers aren't doing what you expect them to do, in the marker settings there's a show marker in preview, and if you click that you can change what colour you want the marker to be. So let's make this yellow. Now this will only ever show up in Rapid Weaver preview, it won't get published, so if you leave it on it doesn't matter. And when we preview the page now with that turned on, we can see we have a dotted line with some angles either side, and it tells us the marker name here, and that marker's for the white background style. So we can see it's sort of where we expect. It's 40 pixels below the bottom of our Chroma fixed position stack. And then when we scroll, we notice it's not moving. And the reason it's not moving is because we've put it inside the Chroma stack itself, which is fixed. So we just fixed our marker, which is a bad thing to do. So that's mistake number one. So let's just move it out of the Chroma stack itself. So we've no longer fixed the position of that marker, and we'll now see the marker starts off in the same position, but now it scrolls with the page, and now the menu behaves correctly. It does it exactly when that marker gets to the top of the page. Now the other problem we can have is if we've got two styles with the same name. Now in this stack we've turned off the default style, because from the sticky position video we know that we don't want a marker in this stack. If we turn back on this marker, then at the top of the page now the first marker that it sees will be this default style, and then we'll get our white background. So we'd expect not a lot to change, and indeed we get our white background. But now it goes blue again as we get further up. The default style is being applied again, but we haven't got another marker for this stack. This Chroma has only got one marker defined, one style defined, and that's white background. There's no other white background marker on the page. So what's going on? Well, the second Chroma stack we've got here has still got its marker turned on. That's fine for that one. We don't need to turn it off, because all it's doing is sliding up and down. It doesn't matter about its own marker. But this marker is also called default style. So what's happening is this stack has a marker inbuilt into it. So when this stack gets to the top of the page, it's going to tell all Chroma stacks that use a style called default style to apply default style, because it's just like having a marker on our page, like this one here that says reverse slide up. It's just like having one of those, but one called default style. It's just built into the stack. So when that gets to the top of the page, so it's just above this red paragraph here, when that gets to the top of the page, every Chroma that uses default style is getting its own default style. It's not getting the red one, it's getting its own default style, which for this stack is defined as blue. So if you're going to use more than one on a page and you don't want them all to get the same style, then just change this to default style 2, for instance. That will fix that problem instantly. The page refreshes, and now when that stack gets to the top, our other Chroma is unaffected. So just be careful about style names. Of course, it is very powerful because they can share style names as well. So sometimes it's great because you want one style to apply to more than one Chroma stack on a page. Then that's fine. They'll go by the definitions. If they've got their own style definition and they hit a marker with that name, they will apply their own style definitions. They won't get a color from a different Chroma or a setting from a different Chroma, but they will apply whatever they've got in their style definition for that name. Okay, so I hope that's a 5-minute short that's useful, and I'll see you next time.